Welcome to this episode of The Common Sense Skeptic, our first series of 2025, and it has been a while in the making, but we are still operating without a proper studio, so fingers crossed that we can get that project wrapped up sometime soon. Also, there have been a fair number of distractions so far this year. They gave us some other things to archive and work on later, namely the Tesla year-end call and an update on the billionaire's space race. But we decided to start off 2025 with a Musk episode and topic that we wanted to do for a while now and never saw any other channel cover properly before. Brought about by Musk becoming a never-ending presence in every news cycle story across the planet, even worse than before. As you know, in the past we have taken Musk to task personally on his bloated and artificial mythos. First, 4 years ago in our top-ranked two-part series debunking Elon Musk in January of 2021, and then again by dissecting his TED Talk from October of 2022 in a 5-part series that went through every single claim that Musk made to TED Talk host Chris Anderson, covering most, if not all, of his companies.
That's a nice tease. All right.
That was just prior to Musk being forced to go through with his Twitter acquisition by the same judge that refused Musk his outrageous self-authored Tesla compensation package in January of 2024, and again in December of 2024. After a series of events we covered in our special Robin Denholm episode, as well as their June 2024 AGM vote, changed absolutely nothing about the original ruling. Kathleen St. Jude McCormick is one Delaware chancellor that really has no time for Musk or his legal shenanigans, of which there seems to be no end. And same too with the Tesla board members, including Denholm, who were just ordered on January 8th of 2025 to return a combined total of $1 billion in cash and stock options because the chancellor found that they too had been enriching themselves a little too generously at the expense of the Tesla shareholders, who do not receive and have never been awarded a dime in dividends. There's no denying that, for better or worse, 2024 was a huge year for Musk. He started the year off losing his self-authored mega-billion-dollar compensation package with the Tesla share price sitting at $237 and change. By April, before the AGM, it would drop to about $147. Then in July, of course, Musk declared for the leading presidential candidate in the November election to make sure that not even a federal election could go by without having his face in the photos. After the July assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, Musk attached himself to Trump the way a remora does a shark. And using that mega association, Musk rode the Tesla stock price on that populism wave up to a new short-lived all-time high of $488.54 in December of 2024, 2 weeks before Christmas. Accompanying his newly found right-wing political bent, Musk's antics on Twitter became more and more disturbing over the course of the year. Increasingly, Musk's acerbic personality traits came to the surface. And people who supported Musk, especially those on the left of the political spectrum, who had thought that Musk was an ally of theirs due to his self-declared love of humanity and desire for a clean energy future, on top of his declaration that he voted Democrat in 2020, they became aware of, and more sensitive to, facets of Musk that they hadn't paid attention to before. They began to see his cruelty, his pettiness, and his vindictiveness. They saw his God complex, including his pathological dual needs for not only acceptance from, but reverence among his legion of fans. In other words, they began to see all the things we've identified in him for over 5 years now. Incongruities between promises and reality pointed out with receipts in our debunking series. Mental issues laid out clinically in our Is Elon Musk a Psychopath episode. Their eyes were beginning to open, but the newly awakened were asking the question, what changed? Why did Musk become this insufferable asshole? The fact is, he has always been an insufferable asshole. But isn't it amazing how much abuse you'll tolerate when a particular asshole is on your side of the political or ideological fence? The more you look into Musk's past, the more obvious it becomes that his personality can be easily reduced into a simple set of character traits, which have been around since the very beginning of his professional career. The need to be thought of as the most intelligent person in the room. The need to be thought of as the most important person in the room. The need to be viewed as a visionary in everything he does, regardless of whether or not he has actually earned any of those titles, accolades, or respect. And we found a perfect example in the Musk archives that documents what happens when Musk is not the smartest man, nor the most important man, nor the admired visionary of a company, where every toxic trait in Musk's personality, every psychopathy, came out in full bloom to focus on a single adversary. Jealousy, rage, vindictiveness, a need for complete power, and a need to absolutely destroy a perceived enemy. So to help people identify what they're seeing now, And to give them a glimpse of Musk's future, we're going to examine his past, looking backwards to see forwards, using a legal document that did a wonderful job exposing Musk for what he is, that was published long before any of the current thousands of court battles he's fighting were ever a distant consideration. The document is not only a time capsule of Tesla from the time it was published, it exposed the roots of Musk's various psychopathies and his megalomaniacal need to be revered. The man who filed this case against Elon Musk was Martin Eberhard, one of the actual founders of Tesla and the true visionary behind the first fully electric luxury production sports car, the Tesla Roadster. Unfortunately for the world, this document was filed in a legal battle that was never heard in court, having been settled out of court before the trial began. Likely because Musk never wanted these details to become public knowledge, because the details in the 33-page complaint and accompanying 150-some pages of evidence would have made for an epic televised courtroom drama. As we go through the legal filing, we're going to reinforce some statements that are made using this 2019 interview of Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning from CNBC, because it too is loaded with details that rarely reinforce Musk's genius mythos. And as we do, we're going to add in some other details that we're aware of along the way that could have strengthened Eberhard's case even further. This document, filed May 26, 2009, in the Superior Court of the State of California in San Mateo County, recounts the history between the two founders, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, who incorporated the company July 1, 2003. How the pair came to be introduced to and later burdened by Elon Musk as a Series A investor, and the eventual fallout between all parties. By way of a blanket disclaimer, this is a sworn document entered into evidence. And we're going to go through this document in detail, in some cases verbatim, because these are facts that Martin Eberhard intended to prove in court. Mark Tarpenning was not named as a co-plaintiff, but as you'll see, due to his role in the company, Tarpenning generally seemed to escape the wrath of Musk. So this document is going to cover 6 years of interactions, along with some preamble along the way, regarding Musk's true history of entrepreneurship, that led to Eberhard filing 11 complaints against Musk, Tesla Motors Inc., and 20 other individuals labeled as those. The complaints that Eberhard leveled against the defendants and intended to prove with the evidence provided were libel, slander, injunctive relief, breach of contract, specific performance of contract, declaratory relief, failure to pay due and earned wages, penalties for failing to pay those wages, failure to provide lawful wage statements, conversion, and negligence, including negligent infliction of emotional distress. And each of these claims will be spelled out in detail in the following pages, which will take one segment at a time, then back up to fill in some gaps. For the 8 introductory paragraphs, we'll paraphrase without skimming too many details on the first run-through. Eberhard starts off paragraph 1 with a self-introduction as a technological entrepreneur who spent his life studying and creating innovating technology to improve human society and the environment. Eberhard, along with his friend and business partner, Mark Tarpenning, originally founded Tesla as a partnership in January of 2002 with the goal of reinventing the electric car. In a comparative timeline, this would have been 2 months before Musk founded SpaceX, and almost 2 years after Musk had been fired from his short-term CEO position at Confinity due to his incompetence and his hiding financial information from the investors in the PayPal platform. Tesla Motors Inc. was formally incorporated July 1, 2003, 18 months later. The name Tesla chosen by Eberhard as an homage to Nikola Tesla, and in the spirit of Tesla, Eberhard's vision was to create a high-performance vehicle that doubled the range of EVs of that time. In paragraph 2, Eberhard states it was he, as the CEO of the company, with Tarpenning in the CTO position, that shepherded Tesla Motors from its beginnings to its status as the leading manufacturer of a fully electric production automobile, the Roadster that he had personally envisioned. And in stories elsewhere, he revealed the epiphany for that vehicle was seeing a Porsche parked next to a Prius and imagining a crossbreed between the two. The 250-mile range of the Roadster was unsurpassed at the time, and the acceleration time of the car was 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. In paragraph 3, he says the work done by Eberhard and Tarpenning and their vision for the company attracted investors, including Musk, who invested in Tesla Motors in the Series A round in April 2004, and Musk joined the board of directors as the chair, According to Eberhard, Musk immediately began a campaign to appropriate control of the company and Eberhard's legacy as the company's founder and visionary. Musk committed a series of actions that not only resulted in the delay of the release of the Roadster to the consumer market, it compromised the financial health of the company. Musk then engineered the ouster of Eberhard from all roles at Tesla Motors Inc. in November of 2007. In paragraph 4, while Musk was pushing Eberhard out of his own company, Eberhard continued to act in the best interest of that company and fully cooperated with the transition process in the hopes that his vision for the company would be realized. Musk wasn't satisfied just taking over the company. He then made it his mission to take ownership of the idea behind the company. Then Musk, through Tesla Motors, publicly defamed and disparaged Eberhard at every opportunity and through widely distributed media outlets. Musk's intent was to build up his personal reputation at the expense of Eberhard's in the media, throughout the auto industry, and among the customers, employees, and investors of the company. In paragraph 5, Eberhard informs the court that Musk has set out to rewrite the company's history, portraying himself as the sole founder or creator of Tesla Motors, by falsely accusing Eberhard of being principally responsible for the production delays and the company's financial instability. This is Musk projecting his own actions onto Eberhard, then falsely stating that Eberhard deceived and made misrepresentations to the board of directors during his tenure at Tesla Motors. Eberhard continues on to say that these actions were remarkable, but, and this part is key to the episode, they are also part of Musk's broader personal history of misrepresentation, his educational degrees and professional affiliations being symbolic examples, and of the extent of his involvement with other companies such as PayPal. In paragraph 6, on top of Musk doing his damnedest to ruin Eberhard's reputation, the company also managed to trash Eberhard's own historic Roadster, the car he envisioned. Eberhard had a written contract with the company to receive the second Roadster off the line. As the car's creator and visionary, company founder and CEO, Eberhard was supposed to have received the first car off the line, but Musk helped himself to that vehicle, then shot the damn thing into space. Eberhard's contracted car, second off the line, for which he paid $100,000, was also denied him. And we discovered during the legal proceedings during the Solar City trial that this one-of-a-kind Founders Series car was given to Musk's friend Antonio Gracias instead of delivered to Eberhard, a vehicle that would carry an intrinsic collector's value several $1,000,000 higher than the purchase price. When Eberhard finally did receive a Roadster, that vehicle was delivered after it had been smashed into the back of a truck by a Tesla Motors employee during a so-called endurance test on the 101 highway. Paragraph 7, on top of the defamation and the delivery of a wrecked car, Tesla further breached the duties to Eberhard by refusing the company's founder his severance pay and stock options, which were agreed upon at the time he separated from the company, further violating several state laws protecting former employees from the wrongful withholding of wages. And in paragraph 8, the final introduction paragraph, cites Eberhard's vision of the company as one that would behave responsibly and respectfully in bettering the world, the environment, and the economy. Yet Musk and Tesla defamed Eberhard and were derelict in their contractual obligations to the Tesla Motors founder. Eberhard states that in his zeal to appropriate Eberhard's legacy, Musk and the other defendants instead sullied Tesla Motors' integrity and blemished Tesla Motors' reputation and prosperity. Little did he know, this would be a small taste of things to come. But now that we're through the introduction, we get into the meat of the case, where the points we've heard about get fleshed out, and the supporting evidence gets referenced. Under parties and jurisdiction, this section simply spells out who the parties are and why the case has been brought before the San Mateo Court, and in paragraph 14, cites the applicable civil codes and labor codes under which these claims fall. Part 3 moves into the factual allegations, starting with Section A, Eberhard founded Tesla Motors and invented the Tesla Roadster. Paragraph 15 states Eberhard is a technological entrepreneur, and he spent his life learning about and creating technology to improve society and the environment. Although Eberhard does not mention it here, we're going to add that Martin Eberhard is a legitimate electrical engineer, earning a Master's of Science from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign in 1984, after obtaining a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering in 1982. We will also point out that Musk does not have either such credential. Eberhard co-founded and founded two companies prior to Tesla, namely Network Computing Devices in 1987, after working for Weiss Technology for 4 years, and in 1997, he and Mark Tarpenning founded Nouveau Media. Their primary product at Nouveau Media was the Rocket Book, the first ebook with secure internet delivery of content. Eberhard served as chairman and CEO of that company until Gemstar TV Guide International bought the entire company in the year 2000 for $187 million. Maybe some of those points would have been good to include at that point. Moving on. In January of 2002, after having his Porsche epiphany, Eberhard enlisted his longtime business partner, Mark Tarpenning, to create an electric vehicle startup. Eberhard worked for 18 months to extensively research what caused electric vehicles to fail in the past, and used his master's in electrical engineering to develop a properly built electric car. With their concept car fleshed out, the partners incorporated Tesla Motors in July of 2003, placing Eberhard in the CEO position with Tarpenning taking the CTO title. Something that is not noted here is how Eberhard used his own personal money to financially rescue a company named AC Propulsion, who was going out of business after building EV prototypes for some other legacy automakers.
Before I had thought about starting a car company, before I proposed that, I had searched the internet for who might make a car still. Not all the big guys were out. And there was a small company in Southern California called AC Propulsion that had made exactly 3 of a little kind of a sports car-y thing. It was very homemade.
Go-kartish.
Right. And so I contacted this company, spoke to them, and they were actually busy going out of business because the majority of their income had come from doing small projects for the car companies as they were trying to make electric car demonstrations. But now that the electric car, the zero emissions vehicle mandate had been gutted, all that business went away. So they were going out of business. So I reached out and actually rescued them. I invested some of my own money into the company and tried to get them to build me personally a car.
Here we have Eberhard describing how he went to and rescued the company AC Propulsion. And in January of 2025, David Tracy published an interview describing the founder of AC Propulsion, named Alan Cocconi, while quoting another AC Propulsion CEO named Tom Gage from a book excerpt, which verified Eberhard's involvement with and significant financial contributions to the company going back to 2002. The lithium-ion version of the T0 is what Eberhard personally helped AC Propulsion develop, a vehicle he personally drove from LA to San Francisco with Tom Gage, a man who accompanied Eberhard to the 2003 LA Auto Show. Eberhard borrowed that vehicle for months to attract investors and, as it turns out, future employees as well. And we'll verify the importance of that mutually beneficial relationship with this frame. A tweet from Elon Musk that is still up, praising AC Propulsion's T0 sports car as the vehicle that inspired the Tesla Roadster, without which, Musk says, the company would not exist. That tweet is dated December 9th, 2018, and it's one we're going to come back to later because this entire article verifies Eberhard's involvement with the company and the T0 development. This is all according to Tom Gage, in an article that was published 22 years after the fact. Back to the document at 20, it was Eberhard who named the company after Nikola Tesla as one of the most important scientists and inventors of the modern electric age. As stated in 21, Eberhard's vision for Tesla Motors was to reinvent the electric car by creating a competitive high-performance vehicle that would achieve the longest driving range of any other existing production electric car by a factor of 2, and they named it the Roadster. Based off Eberhard's work, Lotus Motors in the UK expressed interest in having the Roadster manufactured at their factory in Britain, and this agreement was entered into. The agreement included the testing of the Roadster in Britain before the vehicle was shipped to California for sale. One of the key points in the agreement was the established, safe, and reliable environment provided by the Lotus factory, ensuring the complete operation and protection of the vehicle prior to the distribution to the actual purchaser of the car. With this, it needs to be noted, Eberhard and Tarpenning had secured an auto manufacturer for their design.
They started looking for a partner and reached out to an English company called Lotus.
We flew down to Los Angeles for the 2002, I guess, auto show, the LA Auto Show, and basically forced ourselves upon the Lotus people. We forced him to sit and listen to our presentation, which he did.
Yeah.
And was intrigued.
Yeah, was intrigued enough that he said, well, come to Hethel, which is in England, and we can talk more about this, basically. Lotus was able to write a letter for us that said, if this company can do what it says and gets funded and everything else,
We'll be their partner.
We might be their partner.
Yeah.
Might. I mean,
Well, it wasn't legally binding,
no,
but yes.
But it was what we needed, though, to show investors that we had a plan. We had at least a plan.
And we had shown through my investment in AC Propulsion that one could build a battery pack that way.
It was Eberhard, as CEO, that over the next several years would grow the company into a team of 280 people who had the expertise to run a mass production car company that spanned 4 countries. It was Eberhard who led the development of the Roadster from inception and design through the safety and performance testing that validated the Roadster's ability to achieve a 0 to 60 time of below 4 seconds and broke through the 250 miles per charge barrier. To this day, it should be noted that range is comparable to a typical Model 3 or Y if you don't buy the long-range version of the car. Again, we're going to add an important footnote here that it was Eberhard and Tarpenning's previous experience in lithium batteries gained through the development of their rocket book that allowed this breakthrough to happen. Up until this point, most electric vehicles were still mainly using lead-acid batteries, as Eberhard explained here.
That car was a lead-acid powered car. It was therefore very short range, and the batteries were persnickety and dangerous. And so in my conversations with them, I said, well, why don't we consider lithium-ion batteries? We had learned a lot about lithium-ion batteries from our work on the electronic books. So I had proposed, was this possible? And it turns out that some of the folks there had been thinking about that too. So I basically financed them to convert their car to a kind of a crude lithium-ion battery pack for that thing. So that's where it began. And that was a proof of concept that actually would work despite the limitations of that car.
The first paragraph of Section B should have actually been included in Section A, stating that the multimillionaires Eberhard and Tarpenning financed the company operations on their own from 2002 till 2004, and that would have wrapped up Section A nicely. Automotive startup with fresh technology financed by 2 good friends developed a revolutionary vehicle that caught the attention of a properly recognized auto manufacturer. And then Musk happened, which is why Section B is entitled Musk appropriated control of Tesla Motors and delayed the Roadster's production. As startups do, once they had a game plan, the partners began to suss out venture capital in December of 2003 to take the next steps. Eberhard as CEO with Tarpenning as the company president, VP of engineering, and interim CFO. In spring 2004, 2 years after creating the company and 6 months after incorporation, they met with Musk, who was CEO of SpaceX at that time, which was 2 years before the first and unsuccessful flight of Falcon 1. Musk agreed to lead the Series A investors round, which also included Eberhard, Tarpenning, 2 venture capitalist firms from Silicon Valley, and some of Eberhard's family members. The board of directors was established, with Eberhard remaining as CEO while also acting as a director on the board. For the next 3 years, Eberhard and Tesla Motors worked to create the first production-ready Roadster, meant to be the flagship premium product for the company, whose sales would be used to develop and produce future generations of electric vehicles. But during the design process, as Eberhard claims, Musk took a persistent and distracting interest in the random details of marginal importance, such as wasting valuable resources and time researching and installing electric door latches rather than conventional door latches. The results were ever-increasing delays in the Roadster's production, as well as skyrocketing expense. Side note, this graphic was produced by Fortune magazine in 2008, based on conversations with Musk. It has now been scrubbed from most places on the internet. Even the CNN page that used to refer to this article has now been taken down. But it goes over some of the big-ticket items that Musk insisted upon and the cost associated to it. The custom-built headlamps that cost $500,000. $2 million to redesign the door sill because Musk's wife complained about getting in and out in her dress. Custom seats created at a cost of $1 million. $5 million to develop a 2-speed transmission. The carbon fiber body instead of fiberglass panels. That added $3,000 cost to each car. Retooling the dashboard in leather, another $250,000. And the door latches cost $1 million to create. Yet to this day, future iterations of this device reportedly continue to kill Tesla drivers who get trapped in their vehicles because these electronic latches fail to function without power. The only thing on this chart that Musk suggested that didn't cost the company significant coin was the spare tire, which was removed from the trunk and from the car because it might have interfered with the owner's golf clubs. Add all of it up, and you're sitting on a cool $10 million in additional development cost, because Musk kept sticking his nose in the vehicle development. Compare that to Musk's initial investment in the Series A round of only $6.5 million, and Musk was, even at that time, an overall negative to the company. At the same time, Musk used his privilege as an investor to appoint members to the board of directors through 2006 and 7. Of the 7 members of the board, 3 of them already served at the pleasure of Musk. And those who know the current state of affairs with Tesla are well aware that the entire board of Tesla, as confirmed by Kathleen St. Jude McCormick of the Delaware Court of Chancery, continues to this day to consist of sycophants that are beholden to and do the bidding of Elon Musk. This is how early in the process Musk began to rig the board of Tesla in his favor. And we know exactly why Musk did this. It goes all the way back to Zip2. When Elon and Kimball started Zip2, a digital ripoff of the Yellow Pages, they needed a business-savvy mentor. A family friend named Greg Coury came in to invest and to co-found the company. Coury sought out the venture capital, but VCs would not accept Musk as the CEO. They recognized that Musk did not have the people skills required for the position, so 2 things happened. Rich Sorkin, a graduate of Yale and Stanford, came over from Creative Labs to take the CEO gig. And when Sorkin saw the pathetic hairball code that Musk had attempted, Sorkin hired real programmers to gut it and start from scratch. Afterwards, Musk and his brother were pretty much given a pat on the head and told that the grown-ups were taking over. On NamuWiki, they outline how Musk and Kimball were stripped of management rights, as well as Musk's position as chairman of the board, and both were then labeled outsiders. Musk took offense, as he does, and created enough drama with his built-up shares in the company to get Sorkin removed as CEO, even though Sorkin was working out a deal to sell the company to Cityscape for $300 million. Despite Sorkin being shown the door, Musk did not fill that vacancy. That went to board member Derek Proudian, another Stanford grad, who again set out to find a buyer for this digital directory dumpster fire. The following year, he landed a deal with Compaq for an astounding $307 million. Turned out that the Zip2 platform was so groundbreaking that Compaq never used a line of it in the AltaVista platform as they expected to do. Zip2 was sold for $307 million just to get shelved. Of that total, Musk took away a payday of $22 million, but he did not build, nor did he arrange the sale of the product that was sold. Musk's next venture, X.com, was an early attempt at an online banking app, and that resulted in more boardroom drama when he and 3 other founders could not see eye to eye on pretty much anything. Musk, in recognition of what had happened to him at Zip2, installed himself as chairman thanks to the seed money that he put in, and then he picked Bill Harris from Intuit to be the CEO. That annoyed a key co-founder named Harris Fricker, who was the actual professional banker of the group that Musk convinced to come on board, and he was under the impression that the CEO job should have been his. Fricker had a more balanced approach to building a platform than Musk did, and he accused Musk of overhyping the product when he continually declared that this app was going to somehow revolutionize the entire worldwide banking industry. After a failed coup to remove Harris, Fricker pulled stakes and left the company, taking everyone with him that he brought, which included most of the top talent programmers, leaving the platform in shambles. The company was kept afloat by easily fooled venture capitalists like Michael Moritz from Sequoia Capital. But when they got it up and running, X.com was losing money hand over fist, battling with a similar platform over at Confinity, which led to the merger between X.com and Confinity, who had already developed the PayPal app long before Musk and Peter Thiel joined forces. Bill Harris moved over into the combined company as the CEO. Musk retained the chair, and Confinity's CEO, Peter Thiel, moved into the CFO position. Thiel would wind up quitting due to conflicts with Harris, which prompted Musk to hand the chair to Thiel in order to seize the CEO spot from Harris. That was in April of 2000. However, by October, when Musk took his honeymoon vacation with Justine, the remaining board members were so frustrated with Musk keeping information from the board, according to the new CFO role of Bota, and ignoring the growing number of fraudulent transactions, according to Max Levchin, that they collectively sought and received approval from Mike Moritz at Sequoia to replace Musk with Peter Thiel. Musk found out while he was in Australia that he'd been given the boot, and Peter Thiel was now running the show. From this point moving forward, Thiel would oversee the renaming of the company to PayPal in June 2001, issue the IPO in February of 2002, and facilitate the sale of PayPal to eBay in July of 2002 for $1.5 billion. Once again, Musk made a windfall from the sale of a company he had no hand in building, developing, or selling. But thanks to his remaining shares in the company being sold at a highly inflated price, Musk netted $175.8 million, despite it being Peter Thiel that did all the required work. But more important to Musk than the money is that he learned the formula for how to get rid of a rival CEO. This is the record of boardroom drama that Musk brought with him to Tesla, long before he started it up again at Tesla. Continuing on with 33, Eberhard describes how he bore significant financial duties for Tesla Motors while also performing the duties of CEO, which included overseeing general operations and maintaining an active role in the creation of the Roadster. As the company grew, Eberhard believed it would be in the best interest to employ a full-time CEO and CFO with strong management skills to wear some of the hats that Eberhard was currently wearing. In winter 2006, both Eberhard and Tarpenning began to press the board for approval to hire a full-time CFO or VP of Finance to manage costs associated with the Roadster development and production. Musk and the board refused to consider any of the candidates proposed by Eberhard, despite an obvious need to appoint a CFO. In December 2006, Eberhard also proposed to the board that they search for a new CEO to step in and allow Martin more time to work on their flagship product. This was agreed to, and a committee established that included Musk, Eberhard, and now Ira Ehrenpreis. After 18 months of inexplicable delays, Musk and his boardroom buddies installed Mike Taylor as VP of Finance, and as Eberhard states, Taylor's first day at work would be Eberhard's date of termination as CEO, August 19th of 2007. August 7th, 2007, while on a business trip, Eberhard was informed by Musk that Eberhard was going to be replaced as CEO by a man named Michael Marks, someone who was neither interviewed nor approved by the board nor the CEO search committee that included Eberhard. Prior to this call, Eberhard had not received any notice that he would be expected to step down from the CEO position at this time. Upon calling around to the other board members to find out what had transpired in his absence, discovered that they too had no idea Eberhard was being expected to step down. Yet on August 11th, 2007, the BOD, without notifying nor including Eberhard in their meeting, asked Eberhard to step down to take on the position of President of Technology, reporting now to Michael Marks. Notice the first similarity here between this scenario and what Confinity did to Musk. With no notice given to Eberhard, who was on the committee to pick his successor, Musk dealt with the board behind Eberhard's back while he was out of town, and unable to protest the installation of Musk's pre-selected yes man. But Eberhard agreed to those terms, kept his $200,000 salary, and continued working to ensure the continuity of the company. But this demotion was not enough to satiate Musk, so we move into Section C. Musk ousted Eberhard from Tesla Motors. 2 months after being removed as CEO for this new position as President of Technology, the new CEO informed Eberhard that his role in the company was unsustainable since Musk was making persistent calls for Eberhard's termination, and offered Eberhard the opportunity to resign from the company he built that was building the car that he envisioned. The board approved a separation package of 6 months' salary, 6 months' medical benefits, and an acceleration of his options package of 62,500 shares that were granted the previous January. However, Eberhard declined that invitation to exit his own company. A month onwards, November 2007, Marks was no longer the CEO. Musk replaced him with a yes-man CEO named Zeev Drori. And when Musk came to Eberhard after that executive rotation, it was no longer an offer to resign, it now became an ultimatum. Musk told Eberhard if he didn't leave the company in all respects, as President of Technology and as a board member, that Musk would convert enough of his stock options to give himself control over 3 more board seats and force him out. Here's where having some awareness of Musk's other ventures comes into play, because that threat to convert stock options was very likely an empty threat that Musk could not have made good on due to the state of his finances at the time. By November of 2007, Musk's SpaceX rocket startup had launched 2 Falcon 1 rockets, and both launches had failed. SpaceX was in very real danger of going bankrupt, and they had 2 more chances to get one of those units into orbit. Another business concern of Musk at the time was SolarCity, That solar startup, founded on July 4, 2006, was a year and a half into a short-lived venture that would never ever turn a profit. Between the failing rocket company and the unprofitable solar company that he sunk $10 million into, it's doubtful that Musk had much liquid capital left in the chamber to fire at the stock options that he intended to use against Eberhard in this threat. However, empty chamber or not, the threat worked. And the new deal was for 6 months' salary, $100,000, split into 6 installments, reimbursement of medical benefits, and the option now to buy 250,000 shares of Tesla common stock. It also included an appointment to the Tesla Motors Board of Advisors. However, Musk only gave Eberhard until the end of the day to execute the agreement and agree to resign, or Musk threatened to terminate him on the spot by using those stock options that he probably couldn't have afforded to exercise. And now we get to the first numbered exhibits of the file. Exhibit 1 is the letter that Musk drafted up for Eberhard to sign, indicating his resignation from his own company as president of technology, which outlined the salary payments, vacation pay, etc. that he was entitled to. Oddly enough, this document was not signed by Musk, nor the current CEO of the company. Michael Mark's name is on the signature line, not Zeev Drury's, and it was dated November 30th, 2007. Exhibit 2 is the letter of resignation from the board of directors, with 6 main numbered points. 1. The resignation. Included in this notation, the conversion of 8 million preferred class shares into common shares, which we are presuming to be Eberhard's original stake as the founder and his further investment in the Series A round. The agreed upon severance of $100,000, which should have been above and beyond what Eberhard was paid as president of technology, given that these were 2 distinct roles within the company. Somehow this pay was to be conditional upon Eberhard's compliance with the agreement. 3. The appointment to the board of advisors. But let's call that what it is. This is Musk keeping Eberhard on a very short leash, requiring him to be at the company's beck and call when Musk needed help with the vehicle neither envisioned nor built by Musk. Noticeably, there is no mention of remuneration for Eberhard's role on that panel. 4. The stock option grant, which, if you read the whole paragraph, was kind of a kick in the nuts. It gave Eberhard the opportunity to buy 250,000 shares, but only at a 15% discount, and it was spread out over the next 3 years. Once the company went public, anybody day trading over the course of a month could have easily gotten the same discount. Now, in comparison, remember that ridiculous self-authored self-enriching compensation package that Musk had taken away? In that package, Musk tried to award himself 304 million shares at a strike price of $23.34. And that is what Tesla shareholders voted on in June of 2024 at the AGM when Tesla shares were hanging at about $183. Roughly 15% cost, not discount, as was offered to Eberhard. 5. The non-disparagement clause, wherein Tesla and Eberhard agreed to not disparage or speak ill of the other parties, other officers, directors, employees, shareholders, and agents of such other party in any manner likely to be harmful to their business, business reputation, or personal reputation. This clause is going to be revisited on several occasions. Number 6, the release of claims. That kind of legal umbrella of words that makes people hate lawyers and tries to cover any possible occurrence that may or may not come about in the future. This document was signed November 28, 2007, 2 days before Exhibit 1, and by Musk as the self-proclaimed chairman of the board. Back to the complaint, Eberhard states that he was not permitted the opportunity to have these documents reviewed by counsel before being forced to sign them. And a lawyer should have been able to, if nothing else, point out all the inconsistencies that we mentioned, having the wrong signature on the document from the outgoing CEO, the conversion of preferred to common shares, which would change Eberhard's eligibility to receive dividends, the duplication of the $100,000 payout between the 2 documents, which should have meant that Eberhard got it twice. As we'll find out later, these payout calendars are a breach of California labor law anyway, even if the company didn't try to make them conditional upon compliance. And finally, nowhere along the line was Eberhard ever given a reason for the demand to resign. It was simply forced on him by Musk with immediate effect. After almost 6 years of blood, sweat, and tears, November 28th of 2007 was Martin Eberhard's last day at Tesla. That takes us through the introduction of the case and up to the point where Eberhard was forced out of his own company. But if you think he was treated poorly before Musk laid down the resignation ultimatum, just wait until you see what Martin went through after he left. We're going to go through all those details and the remaining evidence exhibits when we come back for part 2. When that segment is ready, we'll post a link to it right here.